got Jerry on. So I'm like, so all of a sudden I'm listening, going, shit, I lost one job Wednesday and maybe another. Anyway, he said a bunch of good stuff and just said he's great. Two shot. Right there. One single shot there.
Welcome to Apogee Stadium on the campus of the University of North Texas. I'm George Dunham along with Babe Laufenberg. Howdy, Babe.
Hi,
Happy
George.
signing day to you.
Yes, it's a tremendous day for all these high school kids, as well as the junior college kids, and also a tremendous day, I know, for the university and coaches. And it's like spring training, I say.
Yeah.
Because everybody's excited about the guys that are coming in.
We got the guys we were looking for.
We sure did.
And Dan McCarney is very excited about his signing class of 2015. There are 25 youngsters who will start their college careers at the University of North Texas. Some already transferred here as Division I or junior college transfers, 9 of them to be exact, 25 in all in this class of 2015. And we'll talk about it as we go along here the next hour with Dan McCarney, the head coach, the new defensive coordinator, Chris Koch, along with North Texas wide receivers coach and recruiting coordinator Mike Grant. He'll be with us. And some former North Texas players like Lance Dunbar, running back with the Dallas Cowboys, and Craig Robertson, linebacker with the Cleveland Browns, along with Zack Orr, who played his rookie season with the Baltimore Ravens this year. They'll talk about their memories of North Texas and signing day. We're even going to talk about, if you can remember back that far, your signing day with Stanford and Bill Walsh. That's quite a story there.
Tremendous day there. And speaking of Zack Orr, I actually played with his dad's parents, Redskins, so that's a great story. And it's funny, I watched Zack Orr play here, probably caught about 4 or 5 games there his senior year, and he didn't have any of those measurables, but I just said that's a player. And he turned out to be just that.
He's proven that this year, hasn't he? And if we have time, I'll tell you about how I was recruited as a golfer by Lon Morris Junior College and then chose to walk on here at North Texas. That's a fascinating story. That's a good 10 seconds.
Upset your parents. Were you on scholarship there? Did they offer?
Lon Morris, I could have been, yeah.
See?
I think free hamburgers.
Guess what? If I was
books, I think.
Yeah, if I was your dad, I said you're going to Lon Morris.
Yeah, I probably should have maybe started there and then go to North Texas. But 25 players are coming here. This is a big day. It's how you build a program and you identify your needs, a lot like the draft and what you're very familiar with, the NFL. And it's exciting for these kids who start their college careers, but for these coaches and administrators, now they see these kids grow over the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's a tremendous day for the entire family. The kid, the kid gets signed. Everybody's excited. Brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, certainly parents who find out they won't have to pay for their college education. So all of a sudden, that Texas Tomorrow Fund goes right back into their pocket.
That's right. Well, 5 years ago, in fact, we went through this in the Dunham family. My son Blake signed 5 years ago, just finished up as the deep snapper here at the University of North Texas, and it was a great day. We were very proud of Blake, and there was maybe just a little extra special feeling, the fact that he came here at both my wife and I's alma mater.
Yeah.
So it was a neat deal.
And what I think is interesting, too, is for these kids, it's really just a validation of all that work you put in high school, and I'm sure there were days, I know there were days, where they woke up, they went to lift weights at 6 a.m., or they stayed after, and you're in a 106-degree double-day session here in Texas, and you're saying, why am I doing this? And today's that day where they say, this is why I did it.
Yeah, the reward. And so many want to play it. They want to go from the high school ranks to college, let alone Division I. You know firsthand, it is not an easy jump to go from the high school ranks to the college ranks, especially if to play and try to beat out John Elway.
Well, no, that was a mistake on my part. We'll get to that. But when they recruited me, when Bill Walsh recruited me to Stanford, he didn't say anything about recruiting Elway the next year. Okay, I knew who was on the roster at that time, and I felt pretty good about it.
Yeah.
But again, I think they should have told me, by the way, we'll be recruiting the best high school quarterback that we've ever seen next year. So do you still want to come?
Well, you've followed this program very closely, Babe, and you've come up to some games. You've done a great job covering the program. What have you seen in the time that Dan McCarney has been here in the progression of this program, and now with these facilities to recruit to.
Yeah, just Apogee Stadium is just a tremendous place, but I do have a little bit of a bad feeling coming back up here because Indiana played here 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
And
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, and came up. I was actually the MC for a little tailgate party that they had, kind of was the speaker. It was all exciting. It was good. And then North Texas comes out, beat Indiana. That was bad enough, but what was most discouraging, I was sitting there with my two sons, and of course everybody rushed the field after the game.
Yeah, being a Big Ten team. Yeah.
My son looks up at me and in his Indiana shirt says, "Dad, can I go on the field?" And I said, "I go." So he whipped his shirt off and down he went to celebrate with all the UNT. And I left him here.
If you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. He said, I'm going to go celebrate one way or the other, and I want to go with a winner.
And you just left him there. All right, he's Babe Laufenberg. I'm George Dunham. We're glad to be here at Apogee Stadium on National Signing Day. And it doesn't seem that long ago that Lance Dunbar signed a letter of intent to play here at the University of North Texas. And Coleman Feeley is out on the deck with the former North Texas running back, current member of the Dallas Cowboys.
Coleman Feeley here with Lance Dunbar, former North Texas running back and current running back for the Dallas Cowboys. Lance, National Signing Day, it's a big event across the country. It probably takes you back to 2008 when your signing day. What did you remember about that day? How did that feel?
Man, it was a great day, man. It was a great day to my great start to my journey. You know, this day I remember the rest of my life. You know, just being with my family. You know, picking North Texas. You know, it was the beginning of my future. You know, I was excited.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, 2008 was a good time for both of us. We actually signed same class, same year, and did our careers here together at North Texas. But a lot of these young men are going through this transition from high school to college, and it's a transition you've made yourself, walked through the exact same shoes and in the exact same building as these young guys. What advice do you have for them when they're coming into the college ranks?
I mean, just you take it day by day. You know, look forward to going to school, going to class. You know, it's most important. You know, first, you know, do things right in class first. You know, then football comes. You know, and you do those and those steps. You know, everything will follow behind each other.
Absolutely. You know, student athlete. They always emphasize that student athlete. You got to be a student first. You know, this transition, like we had just mentioned, one you've made before. You recently went under another transition from college to the NFL. What advice did you get in that transition, and how was it similar?
Like I said, it was a day by day. You know, you learn things as you go. You know, and I kind of learned things. You got to learn from those mistakes you make and learn from mistakes other guys make. You know, and I just sat back. You know, took advice from everybody. You know, and tried to do the right things and just be a pro. You know, it was my job. You know, you got to look at it as that, and that's probably the hardest thing. You know, what you do now is for a living, and it's your job. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of responsibility in that. Well, Lance, thank you very much. We had a great time, and I had a great time playing with you back then in those days, but we'll take it back to you there, George.
Here we go. Thank you, Coleman, along with Lance Dunbar, who you've seen up close and personal the last few years. He's really found a role on the Cowboys, hasn't he?
You know, he really has, and he's what you call, to me, kind of one of those satellite players. You know, you move him around, but I think the biggest misnomer is because you look at his size, you say it's not an inside runner. Now, he's not a punishing runner, but he was a really good inside runner, and they started to utilize that a little bit as he went on, but certainly a dynamic player, and again, one of those guys in today's NFL. You know, he may not have made it back in the old days when you had a fullback and a big old 230-pound running back, but in today's NFL, the way you throw it, the four wides, you can do a lot of things with him, and I really thought Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, did an excellent job with doing that last year.
Played a nice role in special teams, too.
Yes, he did.
The Cowboys, Lance Dunbar did. Well, we're now joined by Koch, the new defensive coordinator here at the University of North Texas. Thank you for coming by. I know it's been a busy day for you. We appreciate the time this afternoon.
It's been busy and exciting.
Now, I know you want, along with Coach Mack, you want players across the board, but let's talk about some of the defensive players that you're excited about that North Texas signed today.
Well, we had 13 newcomers come in, and we have 4 of them already on campus, which is good. You know, they were JC transfers, and one of them was an MVP, through the nation in JC. And excited to have him, Courtney Finney, and got Jakeem Moore in here as a safety. We got James Gray in as a safety. So they're getting experience right now. Dakota Smith as a linebacker. So those 4 guys are acclimating to our system and, how we work and things like that. And the school will help them, contribute early on next year.
How much will you change the scheme defensively and what has been done here the last
A lot of
few years?
structure is going to be similar. We've been more, emphasizing recruiting since I've been in here, and now we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of football and techniques and schemes and how we call things like that. But the overall concepts and structure have been very similar.
You worked with Lou Holtz. You worked with Bill Snyder. What sort of things do you take from coaches like that and bring here to North Texas?
Well, when you work under those guys, it's like getting a master's degree every day, and in motivation, coaching, teaching, recruiting, and hopefully, they've all had an effect on my career, as a coach in a lot of different facets. So I hope to bring a lot of that stuff in, and pass it on to the coaches I'm working with right now and to the players.
And Coach, coming in new to the program here, you have signing day today, obviously. Everybody's euphoric about the guys they sign, and here we go. What happens for a coach, especially one coming in onto a new staff here, between today and when you'll open up spring ball? What are your days going to look like?
Well, basically on developing the guys that are here, working with them, getting to know my position too. I'm not only coordinator, but I got to coach the linebackers. I got to know those guys and develop them, academically, athletically, and socially, but get to know what their strengths and weaknesses are and set goals for them. And then we got to set goals as a staff, what we want to get accomplished, but really getting down to the nuts and bolts of how we're going to call things, phrase things, our terminology, so we're all speaking the same language, and get a progression to go into spring, how we're going to teach it and install it.
I'm always curious, excuse me, I'm sorry, but I'm always curious too, when a new coach comes in, and it doesn't matter whether it's a high school, a college, professional ranks, how much input you get, because as soon as you get input, somebody tells you, well, here's what this guy is. He can do this and this, but he can't do this. So already you're biased into thinking that. You one of those guys that wants all that information, or you want to be that person that says, you know what, let me just figure this out on my own?
Well, I'm going to listen to input, but also I'm going to take a kid where he's at right now and develop. I don't, we all got a background in what we've done, and I don't want to hear all the things you can't do. I want to see what you can do and work off your strengths. And maybe it's where you move a position or, highlight the different talents and techniques he has by putting him in a different spot. But I'm going to come in with a clean slate and evaluate everything from where they're at right now.
What attracted you most to take the job here and work for Dan McCarney?
When you think of football, you think of Texas. And here we are in North Texas. And, I've followed it a little bit. I've played against them before when I was at Kansas State. They got a lot of promise here. And Coach McCarney, I know he's won wherever he's been. And so I was excited about having that opportunity, and the staff I met when I came down here. I thought we got a great defensive staff, great teachers, guys that are really, glued together. And when you're glued together as a staff, it's got to permeate right down to your players. Because if you're not together, you're not going to be together. And, Best Sermon's a good example, and that's what we got to be as a staff.
30 years experience. I'm imagine you spent some time recruiting in the state of Texas.
That just means I've been around a long time. But I've had a little experience, obviously being in the Midwest at Kansas State. And coaching there, I was able to come down here and recruit and, visit guys at my position in defense and things like that, and do home visits.
I grew up in California, went to high school there. Is there something unique about recruiting in Texas, or is basically you could take all the borders of the 50 states and do away with them because kids kind of want the same thing? They want to go play, they want an education, they want to be taught proper football. How does that work?
Well, you're getting great coaching here, and your state where you come from has great football too, obviously heavily populated and things like that. And the weather helps too, when you can get out and participate in athletics all year round and all year round training and things like that. And, and you have the spring practice here and, and the emphasis of football, and the kids get developed here. And that just carries over in the college programs, and you're going to get a kid that, football's been important in his life, and it's going to continue to be important when he goes to college.
We appreciate the time. I know it's a busy day for you. Welcome to the University of North Texas.
It's great to be here.
We look forward to seeing your defenses out on the field.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That's Chris Koch, the new defensive coordinator here for the North Texas Mean Green. 25 signees for North Texas today, and Coleman Feeley is standing by with one of them.
Thanks, guys. Back here again with Jakeem Moore on National Signing Day. Here, you've had a busy transition this offseason. How are you enjoying Denton so far?
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm getting a lot of support and love from my fans, and of course the teammates and the new coaches that they added to the part of the school.
Yeah, it's interesting. You've had kind of a busy offseason here in the last couple of years. Originally out of Tulsa, then going to northeastern Oklahoma, and then making that transition to UAB there, and then everybody knows the story with that program.
Right.
We're happy to have you here in Denton, but how's that been dealing with all that and handling all that?
I just got to put it all behind me and just looking forward into the future and what's going on best for me and the team that we got going.
Absolutely. That's stuff Mean Green Nation loves to hear. But on a little more personal note, how's the Victory Hall been treating you?
I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. I bond with the teammates that's already in there, and I bond with the ones that stays off campus too. So I like it a lot.
Oh yeah, it's great. Champs Hall is a pretty good dining area, isn't it?
Oh, pretty good. Best one on campus.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Hey, well, back to you guys. Thanks, George.
All right, thank you, Coleman. One of the promising players here at North Texas, and now we're joined by some.
How are you?
2010 class, I do believe, by the University of North Texas. Now you see him with the Baltimore Ravens, Mr. Zack Orr. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see y'all too. Good to see y'all too.
So what's life like in the NFL? I've heard babes' tales of the NFL. Well, what's it like now in the modern game in the NFL?
Man, it's fun. It's still a fast physical sport. You know, it's still a grown man sport, but it's a lot of fun. I feel like it's a great league, great organization, great people in the league. So it's real fun. It's a dream come true. I've enjoyed every second of it. It's hard though. It's not an easy road, but
Yeah.
It definitely takes a lot of hard work. But it's definitely been fun.
What was the biggest adjustment for you this year, you think?
Man, the biggest adjustment I would say is like being up there every day, all day. Like it really is. When they say that's your job, like, I was going to work. I wasn't going to play football. Like I was going to work. So that was the biggest adjustment, just the time, putting all the time in. Because in high school and college, you're limited. The amount of time you could practice and like hours and stuff like that you could be put in the facility. But really in the NFL, you're really not limited that much. Because you got meetings and stuff all day. So like every week is like camp week. So.
Yeah, along those lines too, Zach, I remember a general manager told me when I got up there, he said, we don't pay you to play. He said, we pay you to win.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I thought I was just like, I came to work. It's like a job. You come to work, you get paid. I got to win also. Hey, I played with your dad in Washington. The old one-back set, he was at H-back. That's kind of a dying breed now
Yeah.
because so many teams are going to the 4 wide sets.
He used to
and
wear
3
the
wides.
Cowboys out.
So do you have to suffer through highlight tapes every night when you were growing up? Like, hey, watch this catch,
Oh no, not really.
No?
We found him ourselves, and whenever we put him on, he'll be like, "Yeah, I'll do that to you." You know what I'm saying? But we didn't really have to suffer through that too much. He said he watched so much football, he got tired of watching
Yeah.
highlight films and all that stuff. So he just got back into it with all us playing. And
No, I
everything.
love your dad. I was a little bit older than your dad, but he came in and great guy and tremendous player as well.
Terry Orr, terrific player, University of Texas, and later with the Washington Redskins. This is Zack Orr, former North Texas linebacker, now with the Baltimore Ravens, joining us here on signing day on meangreensports.com. So, Zach, I think you're a great example of what can happen on a recruiting day, because I don't remember a 4 or 5 star being next to your name, but I remember the coaches here being very excited about you when they got you in 2010. This guy can play the game. But all that, measurables that, recruiters look at and all that. But did you feel like when you got here, I know I can play Division I football?
Oh yes, I was real confident in my abilities just because a lot of my teammates in high school were fellow Division I players, and I played against those guys growing up, and I felt like I made plays and held my own against those guys, and they were signing, the Texas, LSU, so. I definitely felt like I was a Division I football player, and I was just fortunate that North Texas gave me a chance to do that. So I felt like wherever I was going to go, I was going to be able to show my talent.
Did you notice anything strange about the footballs in that playoff game against the Patriots?
Nah.
They seemed to be sailing through the air
I didn't
in
get
an odd
chance.
fashion or anything?
I didn't get a chance to see any of that. I didn't get a chance to even touch a football, so I don't know anything about that.
I don't know if you got my message that I sent via courier, but I know you got playoff money now. So if that was a pretty good deal, right? You advance in the playoffs and
that's a
get
little
a
extra
check.
extra motivation. That doesn't hurt at all. A little extra money in your pocket doesn't hurt at all, man.
And Zach, I do have to ask you, I hate to, my career isn't important, but I remember the first day when they said, go down to see Barbara and pick up your paycheck, first week. And I was like, well, that's right, we get paid. I mean, you've been playing the sport for 10, 12, 14 years since you're a kid. All of a sudden, that's right, they pay us for this up here. So I got to ask you, when you saw that first check and the zeros behind it, what did that feel like for you?
Man, my eyes lit up, and I was so happy. And I was like, that just made me want to work harder. I was like, man, I got to keep working hard so I can keep my job, so I can keep doing this like that. So it was fun, man. Just growing up, you just love the game of football. You play it for the love, and then transitioning that to the NFL, that just makes that much easier to go out there. And then, with the money and the paycheck, that's not bad at all either. So.
And just so you know, George, it was a new experience for Zach and me when we got there because we did not play in the old Southwest Conference.
Right.
Where the money was coming in
Bad.
weekly.
Those old hats to those guys.
Heard about that.
As a matter of fact, they looked at that check and said, "That's all? Make more in
What the
college."
heck? That was a pay cut I'm taking here. When you saw the Patriots win the Super Bowl, was that, doggone, that could have been us? You guys were up by 14 over them, or did you just think, well, I don't know, I guess they proved it, or what were your feelings watching
Man,
that?
I was like, it could have been us because, we went in there, we played our hearts out. We had two 14-point leads. We felt like, we should have won that game, but we didn't, and the Patriots ended up winning, and it was like, man, they Super Bowl champions. But, we got a young roster. We got, I think they said 38 players under the age of 25. So, we'll be expecting to, get there next year. So that's the expectations in the Baltimore Ravens. It's Super Bowl or bust. Not, playoffs not good enough.
Well, we should congratulate the Orr family again today. Chris, your younger brother, signed with Wisconsin, going to the Big Ten.
Yep.
You are obviously falling down in your job as a Mean Green motivator.
I know.
And also, Zach, I hope with all that playoff money that you got, you buy him a nice warm coat up there.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be real cold up there. I tried to tell him, I said, man, it's a different type.
Yeah.
Cold up there. But he's going to be all right, though, he said.
Zack Orr, we're so proud of you. Congratulations.
Appreciate y'all.
What a great year with the Baltimore Ravens. Best of luck to you. It's great to see you back here on campus.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Zack Orr, who signed with North Texas, the 2010 signing class. Here's a member of the 2015 signing class now with Coleman Feeley.
Back here again on National Signing Day. I'm here with Caleb out of Longview, Texas. Now, Caleb, you've made a unique commitment to UNT by going through a gray shirt process. You care to explain a little bit more about what that's like?
It's kind of tough, like sitting out a year and not being able to play, but I'm glad I'm here now.
Yeah, and touching on that as well, in your senior year in high school, we know that you had some struggles with injuries and coming back to it. How excited are you ready to get back, strap it on, and get back to that grind?
Well, the injury, it killed me. It brought me down a lot, but since I'm back to 100%, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to start playing.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand that. Believe me, I know a little something about injuries. I've had a few in my day. But, speaking of that, getting back on the field, what position has Coach talked to you about what role you might fill here at North Texas?
Well, since we've been in practices and stuff, I've been working at quarterback a lot, but I haven't been switched over to any other position yet.
Okay, well, hey, I'm sure Mean Green Nation's going to be excited to see that development. In the meanwhile, back to you, George.
Quarterback next year, North Texas, and he'll be ready to compete next fall as Mean Green gets ready for the 2015 season. Well, we're going to be joined by another former North Texas player. You now see him with the Cleveland Browns at linebacker, and that is the great Craig Robertson who joins us here at Apogee Stadium. Howdy.
Hello, Craig. How are you doing?
Happy signing day to you.
Thank you.
I was trying to think, you were the class of 2006. 2006, Gerald Dickey's last recruiting class here at North Texas. And what do you remember about signing day?
I remember my fax wouldn't go through at my school.
It was jammed or something?
Yeah, it was something was going on where it wouldn't go through, and I was getting nervous, and I was like, oh, well, what if they give my scholarship to somebody else? And I was just, me and my coach was going through it, just trying to make sure we got the fax in. But it was an exciting day after that.
It is anxious, isn't it? Until that moment till you get it in, you get signed. I guess on both sides.
Yeah, because you never know, what's going to happen. You always have those people who have crazy signing day stories. Like, oh, well, I was going to sign here, and then something happened, and they didn't have a scholarship for it. I didn't want to be one of those stories.
I always like to, with all the modern technology that we have today, they're still faxing in.
They're still faxing.
Letters of intent.
Although I heard Capper say someone texted and someone tweeted in their letters.
They tweeted in their.
Now, how you do that, I have no idea.
Me neither, but it will soon be there. Maybe an email or something. Fax is outdated.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations on your season with Cleveland. You had some really great moments. Nominated the Walter Payton Award. That's tremendous and shows your involvement with the community of Cleveland. How have you acclimated to living up north and living in Cleveland?
Oh, man. You can never get okay with living in Cleveland. The weather, you can not get used to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be cold. You just got to just know that it's going to be cold. You got to get a big enough jacket. That's just what it boils down to.
You can't be on the Cleveland Browns today and not have a Johnny Manziel question come up. So, what was your experience there with him?
Actually, I had all good experiences. Nothing was bad. He didn't come in and act like a certain guy. He came in like he was part of the team. He acted like a teammate. He was a business from every time he walked in the building until he walked out. He was just a guy who took care of business.
And the passion, though, for the Cleveland fans. I have relatives. My mom grew up in Warren, Ohio, about an hour outside of Cleveland. I have my uncle, cousins, they're all back there. And when the Browns went to Baltimore, they were about ready to come. I called my aunt and I said, hey, keep them away from sharp objects. Don't give them any rope. Because that's how passionate. I said, they're on suicide watch right now.
Yeah.
I grew up in Los Angeles. I went back, my sister-in-law said, the Cowboys were at training camp in Oxnard, and I was just covering the camp. And my sister-in-law a couple of years ago said, why don't you come here? And I said, well, I do the Cowboy games, and I wouldn't be able to do that here. And she said, well, couldn't you do the Rams? And I said, they're in St. Louis. She said, when did that happen? I said, about 15 years ago. So that's
the difference.
And that's why they still, in the second largest market in the country, Los Angeles does not have a football team. One's on suicide watch, one doesn't even know the team left.
Yeah,
the fans are great out there.
Oh man, they're the best fans in the league. I mean, we haven't had too many seasons where there's been a lot of positives going on, but I mean, we still every Sunday, selling out the stadium. So can't beat that.
And I'm sure as a teammate, I know it's concerning what Johnny Manziel did last week, but I'm sure you feel good about that if he did have a problem, that he's taken the right steps to get on the right track.
Yeah, if anyone has a problem, it's always the first thing to step up yourself. So the fact that he rose his own hand to go to rehab was always is huge, And I mean that's a big step for him in the right direction where he needs to be going.
A little bit disappointing too up there for the Browns and for yourself. You guys got off to that great start. You're right in the mix, and then things kind of headed south toward the back end of it. Through no fault of the defense, by the way. The defense is probably one of the
really good.
More. I guess I don't want to say underrated, but one of the more unknown because there was so much else going on up there with the quarterback situation. That really got overlooked. Did it not?
Well, I mean, the quarterback is the face of the franchise, face of the team, and we kind of always accept that, but the more we play, the more face time we get as a defense. So we're not always complaining about playing a lot or whatever, or not getting recognition, because when you're on the field, you're getting face time.
Did you get in the end zone this year?
Oh, yeah. First time since high school.
That's what I thought.
First time
That's
since
what I
high school.
thought, and I remember seeing the highlight, but I don't remember. Did you do any sort of crazy dance, or did you just?
Nah, because I didn't know it was a touchdown because I recovered a fumble, but I didn't think it was a fumble. And I didn't want to do a crazy celebration and it'd be taken away.
Right, that would look really bad.
Yeah,
So you got cheated,
not
on your touchdown celebration.
No, I mean, it's not that big a deal. I celebrate after tackles anyway. So.
So, George, all the time you were calling the UNT games here, you never got to call a touchdown for Craig?
Nope.
You didn't get a pick six, all those interceptions you had, you never scored?
Never scored. I got to the 3 one time, and I took an extra point back to the crib. That was it.
Okay, maybe that's what I was
point,
thinking.
West Kentucky.
He was an amazing cover linebacker. I mean, you made a lot of tackles too, but maybe that helped you transition to the NFL. Maybe that's what a lot of teams saw, that you could play in space, and that's what the NFL has really become.
Because of North Texas.
Because of North Texas. Got to start right here, just like these 25 players are today. And Craig, we appreciate you coming by. Congratulations on your success in Cleveland.
Great job, Craig. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Craig Robertson here with us at Apogee Stadium, one of the 25 signees out on the deck with Coleman Feeley.